in the raw. RK is Guyana Free Media, and I'm your friend, your host, your brother, Haji Dr Roshan Khan, in the raw. Today is January the 3rd, so I wish you, my beloved viewers, friends and families of the In the Raw, brothers and sisters in all of Guyana and around the world, Our Excellency the President, an amazing President, Dr. Irfan Ali. I wish one and all, the opposition leader, I hope some sense can get into him. I pray in this new year that some sense gets into him and that he can do the right thing to make the government feel that he's respectful and that he can walk in a way to be welcomed by the President and the government of this country, which I know will hold power for many, many, many decades to come. So the best way is communication. So Mr. Aubrey Norton, on this new year, I encourage you to think and to do the right thing in order to win our respects. The President of Guyana, his opposition, his deputy or Vice President of Guyana, the Prime Minister, and all the cabinet, they're doing so many amazing things, including my very good friend, Bishop Juan Edgil. They're doing so many amazing and grand things to bring comfort and joy to the people of this country and to help this country to develop. One of the institutions I've been murmuring about, coming up to the end of the year, and the gentleman that heads it, Mr. RAMJATTAN, and the AFC, it's a real bone that pricks when you think of the betrayal of the Alliance for Change to the peoples of this country. And then walking out now from the coalition, from which it was able to sap so much of sweet, technically free seats given by the former President David Arthur Granger, so they could keep them in the coalition and they could have some joy and they could suck sap, so to say. So I kept asking, what about the letter, what about the letter, just to put some pressure on him, and I know it was creating a lot of headache and heartache for him and his party. So I've been asking about the letter of resignation from the coalition. And so this morning of the 3rd, I see AFC formalizes divorce from APNU after 7-year union. That is the man that the Bobitians truly love. The cane harvesters, the people and the communities that depended upon the sugar industries really disrespect this man. Anyhow, I don't want to go too much into that, but I know he and former Prime Minister Nagamutu, for the sake of power, had let down their people and betrayed the philosophy of the party. Because that party, the Alliance for Change, had indicated that they will not, from the inception, have a coalition with the PPP or the PNCR. And lo and behold, as they decided to have this coalition and to change the context of Guyanese politics. And there was some excitement and fervor. As Freddie Kisoon said, not a single person in the Pegasus there, I didn't go, not a single person was without a tear in their eye to witness this marriage ceremony between the two. But very quickly, they started to have issues. And very quickly, they started to have separational tendencies, because the PNCR as the power in the coalition understand these things. They've had coalition with the United Force previously. They were birthed out of the PPP, Dr. Teddy Jagan's party. They came from the same pod, so to say. So they understand certain things of political machinations and playing for power. And so the AFC got really used. They got compensated, as far as I am concerned, friends and families of INDA, RAW, RK's Guyana Free Media, because they got the seats. And to my opinion, they could never have acquired 9 seats. Never. With what they had done to the sugar industry and not even preparing the people. So the people of the sugar industry and the people of Guyana and of sanity must never, ever forget this. I'm going to read this article from the Kaicho News. I'm going to read it and I'll give you my opinions and viewpoints as I go along. But here in my take, I'm advising the people of this country that the aim from what I'm seeing is to play a political game, a form of a prostitution of itself. To see whether the PPPC will offer them a bigger piece of meat or pie, or the PNCR, as it gets closer to election time, they will offer. But they have already had the taste of the PNCR. And I don't blame them. They are the PNCR is a powerful political force in this country. And I was looking, and you will see I'll share something later on, an old invitation from the PNCR. They used to invite me for everything. And they were my friends. Until they took power in 2015, and one man grabbed a few others and tried to destroy my business. One man went on a campaign as he was traveling through the country, and he was seeing where we had won contracts and were working, and within weeks and days we were terminated at all the contracts. And we were left in an economic pressure cooker. But Subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator and Lord of the worlds, put it in such a way that we didn't suffer somehow or the other. It was like a miracle. We were still able to keep our people and still see that they survived and they get the full benefits, because we are one of the few tendering companies who pay all the benefits to the workers. And we were able to survive. How it happened, I don't know. It's like how it started. With $7.50, less than half a cent of US money, that's how I started this business, by the power of God. So while Mr. Harman, I'm going to call his name, was involved in trying to destroy my company, and I know he was using someone from the Ministry of Health to decimate a contract, which he did, that we had won, even though they were in power, and everything was put in place. And he did decimate it using the PS of the Ministry of Education at that time. Anyhow, we did take them to court for that contract, and the Minister of the Attorney General tried to eke out a settlement on the matter, even though it was not in their governance. What a decent Attorney General and government we have in this country. So here now, coming up, before the year was coming to an end, before Christmas, after Christmas, on a daily basis, I was asking about the letter, I was asking for the letter, I was asking for the letter. I keep on putting that pressure. And I know it was having serious psychological effect on the party under RAMJATTAN. And all that I'm doing and saying is having an effect on them, because I've lost respect for the fact that they betrayed the people. They were not supposed to join a coalition, but their executive committee decided to, without speaking to the people, the very way they shut down the sugar estates, caused havoc, and without preparing anything for the sugar workers and many others who suffered fates under the APNU AFC government, that those people cannot forgive them. Nor can I. Nor should you ever forget them. Now, you will see here in this reading, one of the things that he's up to, that he's trying to rebuild the base, to pull wool over your eyes, to fool you all who are disaffected and went back to the PNC or went back to the PPP, and they know they didn't deserve that 9 seats. So they want to capture you back and then prostitute the party once again to the highest bidder. So my commentary is always, I always try to be as independent and fair as I can, but I must speak the truth. I must speak the truth. I'm not a member of any political party, but I support whom I see is doing a good job and who truly cares for the peoples of this country. And so, let me read. AFC, that's my take. AFC formalizes the divorce from APNU after 7 years of marriage. The Alliance for Change has parted ways with a partnership for national unity, APNU, ending a 7-year bond between the groups. Leader of the AFC, Comrade RAMJATTAN, yesterday confirmed the split, adding that the leader of the opposition, Mr. Aubrey Norton, has accepted and respects the party's decision. RAMJATTAN explained, "We had a partnership agreement that indicated terms of withdrawal within 3 years to 5 years, and we have so withdrawn on the 3rd year. It is not a split. We still remain cordial and courteous and have engagements because we know that indeed that is necessary for a united opposition against the very corrupt PPPC government." But you want to harp on that to catch the weaklings of both your alliances and this convenient separation, and also which you're hoping to prostitute the party. You're using the word to, like, with an emotionality, corrupt PPP government. But the corrupt PPP government has not been taking gold bangles and gold gifts and bedroom sets from taxpayers' dollars, and also giving out lands which has not been even demarcated, dozens and dozens of acres, in one case 200 acres, to its party adherents, and those who spent money to build your office. Mr. RAMJATTAN spent money to build your office, your secretariat. So you have to look carefully to what you're saying, because you're not dealing, you might have very few people that when you speak like a lawyer, you try to imitate the English accent, but then very quickly you fall back into what is in your heart and you start to talk like that Coolie Boy style language in some areas of the country. You got to understand, you have to be very careful when you speak to people. People are not dancers in this nation. And some people will go along with you to see what they can get out of you, and then they will abandon you. People don't trust the AFC anymore. Once bitten, ladies and gentlemen, once bitten, twice shy. If this guy and his party betrayed you and went and have a coalition with the PNC just for power and just for the sake of bringing down their father or mother party, still calling Dr. Cherry Jagan their mentor father. Look at these guys. So pulling this whole thing is a political prostitution and selling of flesh and manipulating you, the people, as far as I see. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, something is happening to me, and I'm becoming very political and a very serious political commentator. I do these things just on my own. This morning I saw this. And the first thing I went to the newspaper was to find this. And right away I sent a message out to y'all. Look out, I'll be making a commentary from in the raw. If you check earlier, you'll see I made that commentary. Just go down, scroll down a bit more, you'll see I made that commentary. Because I was expecting it. And my mind was preparing for it. So nobody asked me to do these things or tell me this. It's what my heart tells me. So let's move on. He said it was on December 28, 2022 that he met with Norton to relate the party's decision to withdraw from the APNU. At that meeting, only the leaders from the two sides were present, RAMJATTAN said. It is nothing that he can't accept. If by a contract you say it could be terminated within an expiry of time, and the time has expired, and we said, well, fine, we will go, it is not for him to consent on it. So he's playing a big boy now. He doesn't have to get consent. He doesn't have to get approval from Norton. He's playing a kind of bad man. But he still had to go and humble himself. I informed the guy. Aubrey Norton didn't go to him. He had to humble himself, pull up his pants, and go and face the tiger. But the tiger was very calm and very politically wise, leaving open the possibility of future interaction. He doesn't have a privilege to say, he's putting pressure on this guy. I don't know if even Norton realizes what he's doing. He's embarrassing Norton, here as far as I can see. He doesn't have a privilege to say the consent of his is necessary. Any one of us could say we are withdrawing, and that is what we wrote into the accord, he replied. Trying to play a little bad boy, you know. You want to catch those who are disaffected. No, look, we big and bad. But people, you guys who voted for them, whatever little he might have gotten, and them, you need to teach them a lesson. Go to the right party that is good for this country. Who has given, if I was to do that, I would look for who put more housing facilities, more land facilities, more roads, more highways, more cash grants, more increments, more back pay. I would be looking for that kind of a people. Not for those who were in 5 years and did nothing for nobody but collect gold bangles and furniture and jewelry and give out to the big boys. And many Indo-Guyanese, bigger boys who were giving bigger sums of contributions as alleged politically to certain of them. And that was big news in the media and so on. So this is what these guys are doing. Okay, so it's in the contract, so he's walking out, but he still had to humble himself. I'm sure he didn't tell Aubrey Norton that. I find it, Aubrey Norton, very intellectual about it all and facing the reality, accepting the reality. RAMJATTAN said he made it clear during the engagement with Norton that it was not a decision he made, but was one of the party's highest decision-making body decided on it June last year during the biennial national conference. So he really doesn't want to go. He wants to stay there. He wants to have that suite. So he's technically saying it's not his decision, it is the party. So Norton, please don't be upset with me. It's not me, man. It's the party highest decision-making body, not me, brother. Please don't beg with me. If you listen and you analyze this thing properly, you will understand what I'm saying. You know what? I would love to see what Freddie Kissoon would do here with him and this matter. I'm going to look out for that. When asked if AFC is likely to have future partnership with the APNU, RAMJATTAN said this quickly, "Oh yes, I can foresee that if at our next national conference they decided that they would want to go, fine, why not?" Man sound excited. Yeah, why not? So hopefully they can win a seat and they can get another ministerial position of power. At that appropriate moment, if there is a decision for the rejoining, that could very well happen. If that national conference feels that some other decision should be made, they can very well make that decision. So he's trying to qualify it a little bit and he calmed down. So they can say, okay, we can make another decision. They will sell their soul to another party. I don't think if they go to the other party, they will be much better off. At that time, he pointed out that if the national conference also votes in favor of joining the People's Progressive Party C, he will accept this decision as well. So the man will move into any bed, as you know what I used the word already, that pays the piper or the beggar, sorry, not piper, that pays the beggar for the power to lay in their bed. So whoever gives the highest and best pay for switching beds, they will join. I don't know how come I turned so politically opinionated. But these things are divine, you know. These things are divine. When asked if AFC is likely to have future partnership with the APNU, RAMJATTAN said this quickly. Okay, I gave you that already. Remember, this is in the raw. And I'm your friend, your host, your brother, Haji Dr Roshan Khan, in the raw. Similarly, RAMJATTAN said that if the AFC members decide that they want to join other small political parties to remain independent, this will be done. So they might, if they want that, other small guys and see what they could do, that will also be done. They're really open to any bed that produces the opportunities. At this time, the AFC is not engaged in discussions with any other political group, according to RAMJATTAN, who said the party's focus is to regain independence. Now, this is what I was telling you in my take. Listen carefully. To regain independence and do its own work. Its own, I'm going to put in this word now, thing. So it can do its own thing of manipulation and showing, look, we are independent to recapture those who abandoned them for their betrayals and for the poor work during 2015 elections period when there was government. So they want to say what? To regain independence. We are not PNC. We are AFC. Excuse me. You know, the weather does all kinds of things, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, as it regards the recalling of the AFC members of parliament, RAMJATTAN said it was a non-issue and that was not and could not be raised with Norton. That is, the seats that they have, whether Norton could recall it. And so he's going to explain now. I did read it a little bit before. Normally I don't. So that could not be raised with Norton because it's a non-issue. The seats cannot be recalled. And it seems to make sense because remember they didn't run as APNU. They run as APNU and AFC. So being a lawyer, he must have studied it as best as he can and realized that it need not be APNU, but it need to be AND, which has a kind of an independent connotation. So it could not be raised, don't need to be raised. Well, he knows, and I emphasize the point even before, that there is an inviolability. Inviolability, that means it cannot be interfered with, this agreement. That it is sacrosanct, that it is holy. It cannot be messed with or played with. There is an inviolability of our 9 parliamentary seats, and that is in accordance with the Constitution. I take that, and I will not fight against that. We went in as an opposition in Parliament as APNU AFC and at a parliamentary level. We are going to be APNU AFC, and we will have our 9 parliamentarians there. They can't go and take them away. Neither can we take away any from their 22. So he's trying to logicalize. They can't take away our seats. And we can't take away their seats. He's trying to logicalize in case anybody in APNU thinking of that. He's saying, hey, we can take away yours. If you take away ours, we can take away yours because it's a partnership. But technically, it's inviolable. It cannot be interfered with the agreement. He said the leader of the opposition understands clearly that while the parties will be going their independent ways, they will work along, communicate, and collaborate in the National Assembly, which means in areas that he feels that he wants to join the main opposition, that's the PNCR, or APNU. I don't think they have any else party in there that is worth anything. So whether they will stay with that as APNU name or whatever, but they will work along, they will talk, they will collaborate. How about conspire? I see all those words as a beautiful connection or attachment to conspiracy. Yes. For example, the conspiracy that has put you, my beloved brothers and sisters in Guyana, to suffer the blackouts, to suffer not having hydro, because he, while they were in opposition, and he didn't get what he had wanted, something he was negotiating for, or insisted upon getting, he joined with the PNCR and defunded and broke the hydro ambition of the then Excellency President RAMJATTAN and his government, and which went over and made President Ramutar, when he won the election, very depressed. It was only a matter of 2 years more, for a lot of work was done for us to have hydro, to export, to bring down our electricity by 50%. So don't forget Comrade RAMJATTAN. Don't forget this party. And don't this man and this party for having obviously voted as if he was going along with the enemy to destabilize something that will be good for you. So yes, he's technically saying they are going to collaborate, they're going to communicate, work along in the National Assembly. So anything that is major, and the two of them can come together and they can disaffect the development and the growth of this country, they will do it with the hope of probably winning an election. You, the people, must be the watcher for what is right. For you have the eyes of God. You have the eyes of the Creator with you. It was of January 14, 2015 that the AFC signed the Commonwealth Accord with the APNU, binding the two political parties as a coalition. They later defeated the PPPC in the 2015 elections held in May that year. Since then, the coalition has stood together, but not without its internal hiccups. The most powerful one, we know, the PNCR, I mean, they're powerful. They understand politics. I gotta give them guys, and I really was a great friend and supporter of the PNC. I'm saying this openly since Hugh Desmond Hoyt. I have no apologies to make and I have no fear of anyone. And when Corbyn came in, he was a good friend. But when the change took place, Mr. Granger, Brigadier General, never tried to hurt me. He never tried to block me, but a man in there with 3 or 4 others made decisions in their shadow secret cabinet, after cabinet approved, to destroy me. And that is what changed me, ladies and gentlemen. And that is what created Indara. RK's kind of free media, and I'm your friend, your host. They created it. One man. So I'm not an enemy of the PNC. They stopped inviting me. If they invite me, I'll go. I'm not an enemy. I just give a political opinion of Norton immaturity. But I'm not an enemy of that party. It was a great party. It did many great things for this country. Even in the Burnhamite era, while I disagreed with many things, but the boss, the master, for me, was Hugh Desmond Hoyt and Corbyn. According to political parties as a coalition, they later defeated the PPPC at the 2015 election in May that year. Since then, the coalition has stood together, but not without its internal hiccups. This manipulation, that manipulation, as we saw what took place recently in Linden, whereby the PNCR, the majority decided who they want to represent the AFC, and the AFC cannot have who they want to represent the AFC as the vice chair. Glenn, if you're watching, this is a genuine laugh, right? This is not a hee Mango or hee Marriott. This is a genuine laugh, buddy. All right. We have had other problems, as you would have, with parties. But we have had our problems, and I don't want to make all the problems public. Why not? We are paying you, Comrade RAMJATTAN. We are paying APNO. You're not allowed to have any kind of a secrets against the people of this country. We are not. You're supposed to tell us what is happening there in the background so we know all the games and tricks taking place. He told a press conference in November last year, and as I approach wrap-up time, it must be noted too that the tension between the APNO and AFC sparked when a member of the Alliance for Change, Sharon Das Pusod, turned against the coalition and voted in favor of a no-confidence motion that was filed against the then government in December 2018 that led to the historic overturn of the coalition government. And we know the state in power through a lot of games and monies were spent which they were not authorized to spend. Appointments were made which they were not authorized to make because there was a government who lost power. So friends and family, Comrade RAMJATTAN and the games of the divorce and looking for a better pie, obviously, from the AFC, your friend, your brother, me, Haji Dr Roshan Khan, in the raw. Say thank you. Farewell, friends.